Hello everyone, welcome to the Tim Booker channel. I wish you all a pleasant listening experience. Today, I will interpret for you the things my father Buffett taught me. Yes, the Buffett mentioned here is the stock market guru we are all familiar with, Warren Buffett. When we talk about Buffett, the discussions often revolve around his investment philosophy. However, few people may know how Buffett educated his children. This book allows us to get a close look at his parenting approach. What is it like to have the stock market guru as a father? The first thing that might come to mind is a life of luxury, dominating the financial world, and inheriting a massive fortune. However, after reading this book, you'll discover that it's not exactly the case. Buffett has 3 children, all born in the 1950s. Interestingly, their adult pursuits have little to do with stocks. The eldest daughter, Susie, opened a knitwear store. The eldest son, Howard, became a farmer and photographer. The youngest son, Peter, the author of this book, is a composer and the most well-known among the 3. In the 1990 Oscar-winning film, Dances with Wolves, there is a musical piece composed by him. Additionally, he has won the highest honor in the American television industry, the Emmy Award, for his original scores. Although Peter didn't have to worry about basic needs, education, or piano lessons, the material support he received from his father Buffett was not as extravagant as one might imagine. From the book, we learn that after reaching adulthood, he inherited a sum of money mainly from his grandfather, which amounted to $90,000. As he entered middle age, Buffett announced his intention to donate most of his wealth. While Peter and his siblings each inherited a billion-dollar fund from their father, it was a charitable foundation, and all the money inside was destined for donation. At this point, you might think that being Buffett's child alone would bring hidden advantages. Indeed, it does, and we will mention some of them later. However, this status also brought him a lot of troubles. From a young age, Peter often heard people say, "You're Warren Buffett's son. But you look so ordinary." Growing up, when people learned that he didn't go into finance but pursued music, they would inquire, "A musician? Oh, is that successful?" This is the dilemma he faced. As the son of the stock market guru, you can choose not to invest, but you cannot afford not to be successful. Many children from elite families or successful individuals share similar struggles, living in constant comparison, under the shadow of their parents, and within the expectations of society. If they succeed, people say, "Of course, he's the child of XXX." If they don't, people comment, "Is this it? Still XXX's child?" Therefore, Buffett's perspective on parenting has always been that a child born with a silver spoon should be careful, as that spoon might turn into a golden dagger, piercing their back. Why? Perhaps because, despite having wealth, they may lack love from an early age. Perhaps lying on a bed of wealth, they lose their fighting spirit and drift through life. Perhaps fearing disappointment from their parents, they are forced into careers they don't enjoy. Perhaps achieving success, they still lack personal recognition. All of these can make that silver spoon reveal its sharp edges and glint menacingly. Some might dismiss these concerns as the whining of the wealthy. However, in reality, almost everyone grapples with these questions during their growth. Love versus materialism, striving versus settling, resources versus capabilities, external expectations versus personal choices, these are life challenges not exclusive to a specific group. If these issues are mishandled, even a good hand at birth may be squandered. If handled well, a bad hand may lead to a splendid life. And what about the author? In his view, he's doing quite well in the game of life. Not because he's extremely wealthy, but because he's happy. He pursues a career he loves, engages in meaningful activities, and has no regrets about any key choices in his past. He feels fortunate that his silver spoon did not turn into a golden dagger. This, to a large extent, is also thanks to the life philosophy imparted to him by his father Buffett. After reading this book, entrepreneur Kai-Fu Lee remarked, "Everyone knows how to learn Buffett's investment strategies, but now, my new insight is that we should learn how Buffett parents." So, let's explore the life philosophy that the author absorbed from his father Buffett. In Buffett's words, his 3 children won the lottery of birth. Why? Is it because they were born into wealth? Not really. When the author was a teenager, Buffett had not yet become the stock market guru. From childhood to adolescence, the author lived in an ordinary house that resembled a warehouse and had a modest lifestyle. If there was any advantage to his family's house, it might be that it was only 2 streets away from where the author's mother grew up. Therefore, in his early years, he often walked to his maternal grandparents' house. He describes this journey as a corridor of love, where a warm embrace awaited him at either end. His childhood memories were filled with the sweetness of ice cream, the vividness of candy, the kind smiles and waves of neighbors, and the enthusiastic help with his homework. However, he also understood that not every child could have such a nurturing and caring environment. Both he and his father Buffett acknowledged that this is a fortunate circumstance. This is what we mentioned at the beginning, winning the lottery of birth. This lottery has nothing to do with money or material conditions. It's not about the size of the house but whether there is love inside. It doesn't depend on whether the neighbors are rich but on whether the neighborhood is warm and supportive. This kind of upbringing gave the author a precious gift, emotional security. As he grew older, he retained a fundamental belief that people are generally good. He was willing to embrace kindness and gratitude when dealing with people and events in his life. This is why he later approached charity work with great enthusiasm. Many people might assume that children from poor and wealthy families would have significantly different behavioral patterns. However, sociological research has found that the likelihood of extreme behavioral tendencies in these 2 groups is almost the same. Both groups have individuals who are shy and withdrawn as well as those with fiery tempers and rebellious tendencies. The main factor contributing to these behaviors is not the family's economic situation but whether the family environment is characterized by love, harmony, and stability. Therefore, the author, as an adult, deeply feels that the greatest fortune his father brought him was not the later success of the stock market guru, but the fact that he grew up in an environment full of love and warmth from a young age. Alright, let's continue with the rest. From the author's teenage years onwards, Buffett's career became increasingly successful, and the family grew wealthier. However, what the author observed was that many things at home didn't change. He still had to do household chores to earn pocket money, and his parents' attitude towards life remained unchanged. Father Buffett continued to wear his khaki pants and wool sweater, working 6 days a week with an intense focus as if his soul had left his body. Why didn't money change his father? The author realized it was because making a lot of money was never his father's primary goal. His dedication to work was driven by passion, love for the job, and the excitement it brought due to its challenges. This aligns with what his father later told them: don't prioritize money, as returns can disappear at any time. Find a job you love and treat the job itself as the goal. Money may likely follow, but it's never the direction of progress. Through his own experiences and those of people around him, the author felt that if parents love their work and approach it with enthusiasm, their children would be more inclined to focus on the value of the work itself and seek their own passions. However, if parents often display a dislike or lack of respect for their work, viewing it merely as an unavoidable chore, it can subtly influence their children's perceptions. For instance, the author witnessed a poignant example. In a family, the father was a highly successful investment banker who earned a significant amount of money but despised his job, eagerly anticipating retirement every day. Consequently, he felt he should be compensated with more money for enduring the work. So, he worked even harder to earn more money, but it made him even more unhappy. Now, let's talk about this father's son. He admired his father and aspired to be a successful professional like him. As an adult, he entered the real estate industry and did well. However, he faced the same troubles as his father did. He confided in the author, saying, "I have never liked my job, but I didn't think it was a problem before because I didn't know a person could actually enjoy their work. All I saw since childhood was my father enduring the torment of his job, drinking whiskey, taking aspirin, and then achieving success. I thought that's how things were supposed to be." However, as his situation worsened, he finally sought psychological therapy. During therapy, he realized that what he absorbed from his father was not true professional ethics but a logic of suffering. This logic itself was flawed. It might seem like the path to success in many people's eyes, but it devours the individual's body, mind, and soul. The son eventually decided to stop living this way. He started pondering, what do I truly want to do? Regardless of external factors like salary and fame, what genuinely attracts me? Later, he chose psychological counseling as his career path. Because counseling had helped him overcome challenges, he wanted to do the same for others. When the author met him, he had become someone who derives joy from his work. He stated that this experience taught him a valuable lesson he didn't learn as a child: work should be its own reward. This essentially echoes the life philosophy the author learned from his father Buffett: focus on the inherent value of the work and find your passion. Hello everyone, welcome to the Tim Booker channel. I wish you all an enjoyable listening experience. Today, I'll be interpreting "Life is what you make it" for you. Yes, the Buffett mentioned here is the well-known stock guru, Warren Buffett. When people discuss Buffett, it's often about his investment philosophy. However, few may know how Buffett educated his children. This book provides us with a close look at his parenting style. Having the Oracle of Omaha as a father, what kind of experience is that? The common expectation might be a life of luxury, dominance in the financial world, and inheriting a massive family fortune. However, after reading this book, you'll discover it's not quite like that. Buffett has 3 children, all born in the 1950s. Interestingly, their adult pursuits have little to do with stocks. The eldest daughter, Susie, opened a knitwear shop. The eldest son, Howard, became a farmer and photographer. The youngest son, Peter Buffett, the author of this book, is a composer and the most well-known among the siblings. His music featured in the 1990 Oscar-winning film, Dances with Wolves. Despite growing up with financial comfort, Peter received limited material support from his father, mainly inheriting a $90,000 legacy from his grandfather. As he entered middle age, Buffett announced his intention to donate most of his wealth. Although Peter and his siblings each received a $1 billion fund from their father, it was designated for charitable purposes. One might think that being Buffett's child brings implicit advantages. While this is true, it also comes with challenges. Peter often heard remarks like, "You're Warren Buffett's son. But you look so ordinary." As he pursued a career in music rather than finance, people would inquire skeptically, "A musician? Oh. Is that successful?" This was the dilemma he faced. Being Buffett's son meant not only choosing not to invest but also the pressure to succeed. Many children from elite families or successful individuals share similar concerns. Growing up in the shadows of their parents, living under the expectations of others, success means being associated with their parents, and failure is doubly criticized. Buffett's perspective on parenting is shaped by these challenges. A child born with a silver spoon may find it turning into a metaphorical golden dagger, if not careful. Why? Such children may lack love despite material wealth, lose motivation lying on their fortunes, choose undesired professions to avoid disappointing parents, or achieve success but miss personal recognition. These factors can make the privileged upbringing more of a burden than a blessing. Some might dismiss these as the whining of the wealthy, but in reality, almost everyone faces these questions during their growth. Love and materialism, struggle and complacency, resources and abilities, external expectations, and personal choices, all are life challenges not confined to a specific group. In Peter's view, his current life performance is satisfactory, not because of great wealth but because of genuine happiness. Engaging in a beloved profession, pursuing meaningful endeavors, and having no regrets for crucial life choices contribute to his happiness. He's grateful that his silver spoon didn't turn into a golden dagger, largely due to the life philosophy imparted by his father, Warren Buffett. Entrepreneur Kai-Fu Lee, after reading this book, commented, "Everyone knows to learn from Buffett's investments, but now, my new realization is that we should learn from Buffett as parents." Now, let's delve into the life philosophy Peter absorbed from his father, Warren Buffett. As Buffett puts it, his 3 children won the birth lottery. Why? Not because they were born into wealth, as Buffett wasn't the stock guru when they were young. Until Peter was in his teens, the Buffetts lived in an ordinary house that resembled a warehouse. The advantage of their house, if any, was its proximity to the place where Peter's mother grew up, just 2 streets away. During Peter's childhood, he often walked to his maternal grandparents' house, describing the journey as a corridor of love, where big hugs awaited him at either end. His memories are filled with the sweetness of ice cream, the vibrant colors of candy, friendly smiles and waves from neighbors, and the enthusiastic help he received with his homework. However, he also understands that not every child has the fortune of growing up in such a loving and caring environment. Both he and his father acknowledged the tremendous luck they had. This is what was mentioned at the beginning, the birth lottery they won. This lottery has nothing to do with money or material conditions. It's not about the size of the house but the presence of love within it, It's not about whether neighbors are wealthy but whether the community is warm and supportive. This nurturing environment gifted Peter with a precious emotional security, a fundamental belief in the inherent goodness of people. Throughout his adulthood, he maintained a core belief that people are generally good. He was willing to embrace kindness and gratitude in his approach to people and events in life. This is also why he later developed a strong passion for charity. Many assume that children from poor and wealthy backgrounds would exhibit vastly different behavior patterns. However, sociological research suggests that the likelihood of extreme behavioral tendencies in both groups is almost the same. Whether they become introverted and timid or hot-tempered and rebellious is less dependent on economic status and more on whether the family environment is loving, harmonious, and stable. Therefore, Peter, in his adulthood, deeply realizes that the greatest fortune his father provided him wasn't the subsequent success in the Oracle of Omaha career but the upbringing in an environment filled with love and warmth from an early age. Alright, let's continue discussing what comes next. From the author's early teens, Buffett's career became more and more successful, and the family grew wealthier. However, the author observed that many things at home didn't change. He still had to do household chores for pocket money, and his parents' attitude towards life remained unchanged. Father Buffett still preferred his khaki pants and wool sweaters, worked 6 days a week, and remained intensely focused, almost as if his soul had transcended. Why didn't money change his father? The author realized it was because making a lot of money was never his father's primary goal. His father approached work with utmost dedication out of love, driven by the challenges and excitement it offered. This aligns with later advice from his father: don't prioritize money, as returns can disappear at any time, find a job you love and consider the work itself as the goal. Money may likely follow, but it's never the direction of progress. The author, through his own experiences and those of people around him, noticed that if parents love their work and are passionate about it, children tend to focus more on the value of the work itself and seek their own passions. Conversely, if parents consistently express dislike or lack of respect for their work, treating it as an unavoidable chore, it subtly influences the child's mindset. The author recounts a sad example of a family where the father, a highly successful investment banker, hated his job, eagerly anticipating retirement every day. Consequently, he felt he deserved more money for enduring the job, pushing himself even harder to earn more, which made him even unhappier. His son admired his father and aspired to emulate his success. However, as he grew up and entered the real estate industry, he encountered the same struggles as his father. He confessed to the author, "I've never liked my job, but I didn't think it was a problem because I didn't know people could actually enjoy their work. All I saw growing up was my father suffering at work, drinking whiskey, taking aspirin, and then achieving success. I thought that's just how things were supposed to be." Eventually, his situation worsened, leading him to seek psychological therapy. Through therapy, he realized that what he learned from his father was not true professional ethics but a logic of suffering for success, which is fundamentally flawed. It may seem like the path to success for many, but it devours one's physical, mental, and spiritual well-being. This son finally decided to break free from this life. He began questioning, what do I truly want to do? Setting aside external factors like salary and fame, what genuinely attracts me? Later, he chose psychological counseling as his career path because counseling had once helped him overcome challenges, and he wanted to do the same for others. By the time he met the author, he had become someone who derives joy from his work. He shared that this experience taught him a valuable lesson he didn't learn as a child: work should be its own reward. This aligns with the life philosophy the author gleaned from his father Buffett: focus on the intrinsic value of work, find your passion. So, how did the author discover his passion for music and embark on this path? Although he showed some musical talent from a young age, his definitive decision to pursue a career in music came after entering college. At the age of 18, the author enrolled at Stanford University. At that time, his father, Buffett, had already become a celebrity with numerous connections. The author acknowledges in the book that it was his family background, coupled with a recommendation letter from Graham, the publisher of the Washington Post, that secured his admission to Stanford. This is not uncommon in the United States. Many private universities reserve some admission slots for the offspring of celebrities or distinguished alumni. So, did Buffett send his son to Stanford with a specific field or elite profession in mind? No. The author states that his parents never explicitly told him what to do or what kind of person to become. Instead, they instilled in their children the belief that they could choose who they wanted to be. However, when the author entered college, he was still somewhat lost. He hadn't chosen a major, didn't have a particular interest in any subject, and lacked confidence. He was uncertain about whether he belonged at Stanford. Because of this, he decided to make the most of his time on campus, taking as many courses as possible within his capacity, including philosophy, literature, basic sciences, and more. In this broad and enriching learning environment, he found great joy. Throughout his freshman year, his parents never pressured him to decide on a major, granting him the freedom to enjoy knowledge fully. Initially, the author didn't fully grasp how precious this freedom was. That realization came one day when he overheard a familiar girl talking on the phone in the dormitory corridor, expressing intense emotions. The author discreetly walked away. After a while, he saw the girl walking towards him along the corridor, crying. When he asked her what had happened, she revealed that she had just opened up to her father, telling him how overwhelmed she felt studying medicine and that she couldn't continue. After a lengthy conversation, her father finally relented, allowing her not to pursue medicine and instead become a lawyer. Smiling through her tears, she said, "Isn't this too wonderful?" The author was stunned. He knew he should say something supportive, but his only thought at the time was, "Wait, is that it? Doctor or lawyer? Among the myriad possibilities in life, are these the only two choices?" This incident made him realize how valuable the freedom he possessed truly was. This led him to ponder the question, what is privilege? Many might think being born wealthy, with no worries about food and clothing, is a privilege. However, the author realized that genuine privilege is having the freedom to choose within the broadest scope possible. It's about spending a lifetime in an expansive vision, not being squeezed into a predetermined narrow space. This is one of the most precious gifts parents can give their children, far more valuable than money. Later, in his sophomore year of college, the author began to feel that, compared to the subjects he had encountered, he wanted to choose music as a career. Around the same time, he inherited a family fortune of about $90,000, left by his grandfather. This was a tradition in the Buffett family. Each child received a small fortune at the age of 19, constituting their entire inheritance. The Buffetts didn't impose any restrictions on what this money should be used for. While his siblings quickly spent their inheritance, the author didn't want to follow suit. After much consideration, he made a careful decision, to leave Stanford University, use the money to start his own music studio, and take some time to figure out if he could truly make a mark in the field of music. He referred to this as exchanging money for time. The $90,000 inheritance bought him time to explore his career path. This decision wasn't easy, but looking back, the author considers it a significant step forward. It was his first independent, major life choice, a reconciliation with inner conflicts, insecurities, and concerns about external expectations at that time. From here, the author officially embarked on the path of pursuing his musical dreams. He rented a small apartment, equipped it with necessary musical instruments, and started from small gigs and composing for advertisements. Gradually, he progressed to releasing his own albums and composing soundtracks for films and TV shows. Many years later, the author held his own music concerts and received numerous awards. Despite facing numerous challenges, he consistently moved forward. So, what role did his father, Buffett, play in the author's career development? If we talk about direct assistance, it seems that we can only find one instance. When the author decided to leave Stanford and open a music studio with the $90,000, Buffett helped him formulate a budget to make that money last as long as possible. This was direct assistance, along with some subtle influences. For example, after composing for advertisements for a while, the author began seeking opportunities to compose music for movies. At this point, he faced a choice, whether to move to Los Angeles. The conventional wisdom was that, regardless of your capability, if you wanted to work in the film industry, you had to move to Los Angeles, build connections, gather information, and network. However, in the end, the author didn't go to Los Angeles. Instead, he chose another distant and quieter city, Milwaukee. He said this decision was influenced to some extent by his father, Buffett. When Buffett founded his investment company Berkshire Hathaway, New York was the absolute center of the financial world. People believed that if you wanted to do investments, you had to go to Wall Street. But Buffett didn't see it that way. He believed that investing required a constantly clear mind and independent judgment. In a crowd, you might easily succumb to herd mentality. When you follow everyone else, you might overlook some value pockets that deserve attention. So, he decided to stay in Omaha, doing things his way. The author's decision not to go to Los Angeles was a similar mindset. He thought that in Los Angeles, he might easily follow trends, create music in popular genres, or imitate the most successful original music of the moment. But that wasn't what he wanted. He wanted to develop his own musical style, create a unique value pocket that would attract those who resonated with him. The author was fortunate. His first album, Waiting, created in Milwaukee, received a positive market response, attracting the attention of some film and TV producers, opening a new phase in his career. Apart from what we've just discussed, you rarely see the author's father's presence in the author's exploration of his career direction and the process of career development. However, the author believes that this reflects Buffett's educational philosophy: support, encouragement, but no interference. When the author was just starting college and feeling lost, his father encouraged him to try things he was interested in, to examine his inner self, and find his passion. When the author decided to drop out and open a music studio, his father didn't object. Instead, he helped plan how the money should be spent. When the author was in his early 20s and finally determined to make music his lifelong career, Buffett said a sentence that left a deep impression: "Son, we're actually doing the same thing. Music is your canvas, and Berkshire is mine. I'm glad to add a few strokes to my canvas every day." For the author, this was enough. Now, in the final part, let's discuss a question that is touched upon in many chapters of the book: how to choose our professional path. Buffett's answer to this question is clear: choose what you love. However, this is not an easy task. Many people, even after working for many years, are still unsure about what they love. Buffett understands this. Finding one's passion is a challenging, mysterious process, with an element of chance involved. Therefore, he gives his children ample freedom. He knows that exerting pressure during this process could backfire, making it more difficult for the child to see what they truly want. However, having such a free and encouraging family environment is not enough. The author believes that a person seeking the right professional path must also possess the ability to question their own inner self. What should you question? We can summarize 3 aspects from the book. First, if you already have a candidate for your professional path, you can ask yourself: do I want to choose this profession because I genuinely like it, or is it for other reasons, such as others wanting me to take this path or it being an easier route? In the book, the author mentions that he briefly considered going to Wall Street to pursue investment. However, after questioning his inner self, he realized that the allure of this choice wasn't because he genuinely wanted it but rather because it seemed like an easy path. While this choice might seem shrewd on the surface, he considered it, from a deeper perspective, as a submission to fate, a failure of imagination. On the other hand, he also said that if he truly felt a passion for financial investment, he would pursue it without hesitation. Even if people later said, he achieved all this because of his dad, so be it. After all, when you find something you want to dedicate your whole effort to, why care about what others say? The author states that such a serious self-questioning about whether you really want a certain profession is something no one can do for you. Each person must decide where to channel their passion. Now, if you feel that a certain profession is something you really want to do, are you brave enough to choose it? Many people are not, because there's often a worry: even though I quite like the job, I don't seem to excel at it. Can I really choose it as my professional path? The author also experienced similar worries. An interesting incident mentioned in the book is from 2008, when the author held his music concert, and his father Buffett joined in, playing a piece together. Buffett jokingly said he came to see how the investment in his son's piano lessons paid off. The author wanted to ask his father at that moment, "Which piano lesson are you talking about?" Because from the initial encounter with the piano to later fully dedicating himself to music, there were 4 instances of piano learning experiences, each time interrupted by his own decision. Was it because he didn't like playing the piano? Not at all, he loved it. Was it because he wasn't good at playing the piano? No, that wasn't the reason. Then why did he stop? He was afraid. Every time he became deeply engrossed in playing the piano, feeling inseparable from it, he would become uneasy. He would start to feel that making music was becoming serious. Vaguely, he realized that this seemed to be what he wanted to do, so he felt a strong desire to excel at it. However, at this point, he would also be afraid. What if his musical talent was actually mediocre? What if he couldn't make a name for himself in this field? So, he would retreat. Many people might have gone through similar psychological processes. The more we care about something, the more likely we are to hesitate and withdraw. While reaching an average level is quite commendable in most areas of life, it's not sufficient when it comes to our professional paths. We don't want to fall short in something we care deeply about. Therefore, choosing a professional path can make many people feel fearful and uneasy. Faced with such a situation, the author's suggestion is, if you don't have the courage to make a definitive choice, you can start with the process of elimination. In other words, first ask yourself, what are the things I'm least skilled at and least interested in doing? This can significantly simplify your decision-making. The author himself used this method to exclude several career options in his past. He also mentions a writer friend who always felt destined to pursue the path of writing. It's not because he was confident that his talent could surpass others, but more because he understood his nature. He liked being able to explain things to himself, find the reasons behind things. He enjoyed working without distractions, concentrating on the task at hand. He preferred self-discipline and disliked others telling him what to do. Consequently, places with bosses made it challenging for him to excel, eliminating a large portion of career choices. Once you've excluded the careers you don't like or aren't good at, choosing from the remaining options is likely your optimal solution within the given constraints. Understanding this can also bolster your courage to take action. Finally, if neither the method of choice nor the process of elimination helps you find a professional path, you can further question yourself, do I absolutely need a lifelong professional destination? The author's perspective is that it's not necessarily a requirement. He believes that, more broadly speaking, the so-called professional destination is like a gravitational force that pulls us toward a life that feels right and genuinely belongs to us. This kind of life might revolve around a certain profession, but it might not. In other words, we should understand that finding a professional path is not our ultimate goal, building the life we want is. So, if you find the search for a professional path perplexing, consider changing your perspective. Think about what kind of life you want to lead. For example, the writer mentioned earlier could clearly sense that writing was an essential element of his life. However, his partner didn't share the same view. She stated that she never sought to define herself by a specific professional identity. She had held various jobs but saw them merely as a means to sustain life. When asked as a child what kind of person she wanted to become, while others might have said firefighter, astronaut, scientist, etc., her answer was, a happy person. Growing up, she still held this view: people work hard in their careers and make money fundamentally to live a happier life. So, why not pursue happiness directly? The author believes that both the writer and his partner represent very different life philosophies, and both are valid. They fully illustrate the vast possibilities in life. Whether you diligently manage your career, earnestly pursue happiness, or strive to achieve other life goals, the requirements are the same: patience, the courage to make choices, and the ability to question your inner self. The directions they lead to are all part of the life canvas we paint for ourselves. Alright, the above is the key content I want to share with you from this book. Looking back on the author's life, he acknowledges having very advantageous starting conditions. He is well aware that all of this is due to his father's achievements, not his own. Regardless of who your parents are, you still need to figure out your own life. Reflecting on his growth, the author deeply feels that money can't buy happiness, and values are the most stable currency. The most precious gift his father gave him wasn't success in his career but rather a home filled with love and warmth, along with ample respect for his freedom to choose. His father told him, interests should always come first, wealth follows interests, not the other way around. The most important thing in life is to find your own path. Many might find these notions overly idealistic. Indeed, I had similar thoughts initially. However, a discussion in the book provided me with a moment of enlightenment. The author mentions that, as he wrote this book around 2022, the global economy was in a worrisome state of uncertainty. Young people, when looking ahead, seem to face a future full of challenges. Even his father, Warren Buffett, a legendary figure known for cutting through common sense, admitted to feeling a bit confused and uncertain this time. Yet, the author believes that such confusing times, though difficult, also present an opportunity for us to unload mental baggage. What does that mean? He states that, for decades, the standard for judging success has often been money. People would flock to places where money seemed to be, or at least appeared to be. For instance, in the United States, the most popular profession in the 1980s was management consulting, but soon the market was saturated with consultants. Later, the trend shifted to lawyers, and then the legal field became overcrowded. After 2000, the wave turned towards finance, attracting countless individuals. However, after 2020, this wave was overshadowed by artificial intelligence. At the present time, 2022 to 2023, the economic environment is even more unpredictable, and the flow of money keeps changing. Professions that are hailed one month might fall out of favor the next, individuals who were prosperous last year might not be as fortunate the next. Usually, in challenging economic environments, people tend to be more cautious and restricted in their choices. This caution is certainly understandable. However, the author also presents a different idea: why not go in the opposite direction? If the professions that currently seem to align with mainstream views of success also come with dangers and difficulties, is this not an opportunity to try broader, more genuinely desired options? If the flow of money is hard to predict, should we not cherish things more enduring and constant than money? Such as the desires and pursuits deep within you. They existed before the appearance of money and won't be taken away even if money disappears. Socrates once said, "An unexamined life is not worth living." Perhaps, in times of unpredictable external changes, it's a rare opportunity to re-examine oneself. At such times, we need to remember what the book reminds us: the real life is not the part we inherit but the part we create. We cannot choose the beginning of life, but we can genuinely choose what kind of person we want to become in the future. Congratulations, you've completed another book. Thank you all for your support and attention. Please subscribe to the Tim Booker channel, like, and share this valuable knowledge with your friends. Let's combine wisdom and practice to achieve our financial goals and create a better future. Thank you, and goodbye.